Picture this. It's mid-afternoon, access control alarms start, tenant VPNs drop, and the operations desk watches two different carrier portals both show outages. On the floor plan, there are two ISPs. On paper, you're redundant. In reality, everything is down. What just happened? Welcome to Built, Wired, and Secured. I'm Alex Morgan, and today we're untangling carrier diversity so your redundancy actually protects operations instead of just filling a checkbox. With me are Michael Harrington and James Rogers. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Alex. Right away, you smell the classic mistake: logical diversity without physical diversity.
Hold on, logical versus physical? Quick clarity for listeners.
Logical diversity is two different IP services or providers, but if both carriers come up through the same riser, the same conduit, or end in the same meet-me room, a single cut or a maintenance error takes both. Tenants feel that immediately.
We call that the paperwork illusion. Two carrier names on a drawing and everyone breathes easier. But reliability starts with disciplined mapping and maintenance, knowing where each cable runs, whether they share a sleeve, and who owns each demarc. Trust the process. Validate in person.
So, step one is physical separation. But that invites the money question. How far do you go? Full separate street entries? Separate manholes? What's the practical sweet spot?
You balance risk and cost. Separate providers is baseline. Separate entrance points and separate risers are the next layers. But you prioritize the crown jewels: life safety, building automation, critical tenant services, where the impact of a failure is highest. Ask, what breaks if this goes down? And protect those paths first.
Right.
And don't underestimate the meet me room. I've pulled contract folders that say diverse handoffs, only to find two carriers terminating 3 feet apart in a crowded closet. A good spec asks for annotated meet me locations, route diagrams, and inspection rights. Then you go see it.
Who actually does that on-site verification? Facilities? IT? The carrier? Someone always assumes it's someone else.
You need explicit roles. Facilities typically owns the pathways, the risers and closets. IT owns service validation and failover logic. Contracts should require carriers to provide route maps and demarc points and designate an owner who coordinates inspections and tests. That single coordinator is the difference between follow-through and finger-pointing.
Makes sense.
Also, make the runbook short and usable. Demarc locations, cable IDs, carrier escalation numbers, scheduled maintenance windows, and a one-page failover checklist. If it's 2 pages, no one carries it into an outage drill.
Testing is the other fast fail area. Some teams won't touch failover because they fear tenant disruptions. Others test once and forget. How do you run tests that prove resilience without creating an incident?
Staged, scheduled tests. Start small, non-critical systems or a single floor during an agreed maintenance window. Notify tenants, have rollback plans, and keep carriers on the line. Use monitoring to confirm traffic actually shifts and devices pick the backup path. Expand scope only after you prove each step.
Quick trick. Bring a tenant liaison into the planning. A short advisory that names a single contact and a guaranteed window reduces pushback. We did a 5-minute off-hour switchover once and discovered a tenant firewall only allowed the primary carrier's IP ranges. If we'd waited, a real outage would have been messy.
Wait, so the firewall blocked the failover? That's a nasty surprise.
Exactly that. Secondary carrier was live, but tenant rules only allowed source IPs from the primary. We flipped and services failed. The tenant blamed the carrier blamed configuration, and the building ops team, well, they watched it all burn. After that, we added failover IP ranges to tenant onboarding and the building runbook. Small doc change, huge impact.
Ouch. That kind of cross-system surprise shows the need for governance. Which brings me to an earlier point. Sometimes owners ask, why not just one great carrier with strong SLAs? James, you felt strongly about that trade-off.
I get the cost argument. Owners hate extra capital, But SLAs buy speed of repair, not instant continuity. If your priority is keeping life safety or a critical tenant service online in the moment, physical separation or a backup path matters. If you do accept single carrier, make that decision explicit in the risk register and get sign-offs.
So it's not binary. It's documented trade-offs and accountable sign-offs.
Right. SLAs matter, but they don't stop a backhoe or a rodent chewing a conduit. That's fine until it fails. Then you feel the consequences. Always map failure impact to business outcomes, not just price.
We're getting a lot of practical ground here. Before we close, let's give listeners a tight checklist they can use immediately. James, hit us with the essentials. Quick bullets.
Mapping. Annotate physical routes, meet-me rooms, and demarc locations on your drawings. Ownership. Name who owns pathways and who owns service testing. Runbook. One page with carrier contacts, cable IDs, and a failover script. Testing cadence. Staged failovers at least quarterly. Preventative maintenance beats emergency repairs every time.
I'll add procurement and verification. Require carriers to supply physical route confirmations. Insist on annotated meet-me room details. Conduct on-site verification before cutover. And always run a staged failover with carriers on the line. Finally, define acceptable downtime for critical systems so decisions are impact-driven.
Those are great, short and usable. We built a one-page carrier diversity checklist that follows exactly this flow: mapping, demarc notes, test script, and escalation contacts. If you're about to sign a contract or run an outage drill, take this checklist with you. Schedule a short staged failover this quarter. You'll catch configuration and tenant issues long before they become emergencies.
And remember, the best day in operations is the one nobody notices. Do the work now so outages don't require heroics later.
From an operational standpoint, small, repeatable checks beat big, infrequent overhauls. Require proof of physical diversity and run the tests. It's the difference between a report and real resilience.
That wraps up this episode of Built, Wired, and Secured. Today, we turned carrier diversity from a line item into a repeatable capability. Map the physical routes, verify meet-me rooms, assign clear ownership, and run staged failovers. Thanks for spending a few minutes with us. Built to last. Wired with intention. Secured for the real world.